Welcome to this explainer. Look, we interact with money literally every single day, right? But honestly, how many of us were actually taught the rules of the financial game? Very few. Today, we're going to demystify the invisible forces of the modern economy. We're breaking down everything from the real reason your paycheck shrinks to the shadowy algorithms judging your trustworthiness, all the way to the exact methods ordinary people use to build real, lasting wealth.
So picture this. Imagine you've been grinding all month at your job. You're exhausted, it's late, and you're finally in bed when your phone buzzes. Ding! It's an email saying you've been paid a solid $2,000. You feel amazing. You traded your time and hard work, and the reward is right there staring back at you.
But then you actually log into your bank account and wait. You only see $1,456. You look closely at the pay stub, and it's just a laundry list. Federal income tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare. It's the modern ritual of handing over a huge chunk of your hard-earned cash to invisible forces. And the wildest part? We're just expected to accept it. Okay, so to actually navigate this system, here's our game plan. We're going to cover 1, money and taxes, 2, how banks really work, 3, the double-edged sort of interest, 4, inflation and recessions, and 5, investing and time. Let's learn these rules so we can actually rig the game back in your favor. Let's dive right into Section 1, Money, Taxes, and Society. Basically, we're looking at the true cost of civilization. You know what's completely wild about currency? It's not actually real. It's totally just a social construct. I mean, think about it. The only difference between a printed dollar bill and a literal stick on the ground is just societal belief. A dollar only has value because we all collectively agree it does. We just invented it to make trading stuff easier and to keep society somewhat organized. And hey, because we live in that organized society, we've gotta pay taxes. I know, they're super annoying, but they're basically the subscription fee for civilization. They fund the roads, the schools, and they make sure your favorite taco truck passes health inspections. Generally, these hit you in 3 main ways. There's income tax on the money you make, sales tax on the stuff you buy, and capital gains tax on the money your investments make while you're sleeping. All right, moving on to Section 2, how banks actually work. Spoiler alert, they are middlemen, not dragon-guarded vaults. Seriously, when you hand your cash to a bank teller, it doesn't go into a giant cartoonish safe in the back. Banks use a system called fractional reserve banking. So if you deposit $1,000, the bank might keep 100 in reserve, but they immediately lend out the other 900 to some guy buying a jet ski. They make their profit by charging the jet ski guy a higher interest rate than they pay you. And as long as we don't all ask for our money back on the exact same day, like what happened in 2008, the whole machine just hums along. Which brings us perfectly to Section 3. Interest, friend or foe. Think of interest as money's way of charging rent when it lives in someone else's pocket. Now, there is a massive difference between the two types of interest. Simple interest is pretty straightforward. It's like a flat fee. Thanks for playing. But compound interest, that's a completely different beast. With compound interest, every single dollar duplicates into tiny little clones, and then those clones start demanding their own rent. If you're investing at a 7% annual rate, your money duplicates like an absolute cheat code until eventually you wake up wealthy. But you've got to be so careful because compound interest swings both ways. It's the silent engine behind incredible wealth, but also crippling debt. If you owe 20% on a credit card and miss a payment, your interest starts earning its own interest. Suddenly, that quick $12 burrito turns into a massive $50 regret. It is literally a financial time bomb if you aren't paying attention. And speaking of borrowing, to even get a loan in the first place, you have to appease the shadowy algorithm we call a credit score. It's a 3-digit number, somewhere between 300 and 850, that tells lenders exactly how trustworthy you are. They're basically asking, if I hand over my cash, am I ever seeing it again? They calculate this using 5 main factors, with your payment history being absolutely crucial. Ignore this score and it will wreck your financial life. But baby it by paying on time, it just might be the ticket to buying your dream home. Let's jump to Section 4, Inflation and Economic Recessions. We need to talk about the slow erosion of your money and why the economic party occasionally crashes. We have absolutely all felt this recently. You buy a bag of chips, it's completely half empty, and it somehow costs 30% more. That is inflation. It isn't some crazy overnight event. It's a slow, steady erosion that happens when too much money is chasing too few goods. So the $5 bill in your pocket today will literally buy you fewer instant noodles next year. It just loses its power. And when that inflation spikes or borrowing gets too expensive, the whole economy throws a fit, and we enter a recession. Think of the economy like a massive house party. During the boom phase, the music's loud, everyone's having a blast. At the peak, the lights start flickering. Then comes the bust, the recession. The party's over, jobs dry up, and the DJ's just playing sad lo-fi beats. But it's not the end of the world. It's a painful reset. Eventually, governments step in, lower rates, and the party slowly starts back up again. Finally, Section 5, investing, value, and time. This is the fun part. This is exactly how we rig the game back in our favor and stop trading our time for money. Because of that slow erosion of inflation we just talked about, hoarding your cash under a mattress is literally a guaranteed way to go broke safely. You have to invest. You can buy stocks, which are just tiny slices of real companies. You can buy bonds, which are loans you give out, or you can look at index funds or real estate. Look, markets absolutely go up and down, but the real danger isn't a temporary market dip. The real danger is never investing at all and letting inflation pick your pocket every single year. But hey, to invest money, you actually have to earn it first. And the absolute secret to making money is providing massive value. Think about gold for a second. It's literally just a rock, but society perceives it as super valuable. Steve Jobs created the iPhone, gave immense value to millions of people, and society gave him billions of dollars in return. It's why a Louis Vuitton bag costs way more than a plastic grocery bag. If you want to boost your income, figure out how to boost the value you give to the world. But here is the ultimate cheat code to the whole game: time. Seriously, time is the most valuable asset you have. Most wealthy people out there didn't hit the jackpot. They just let compound interest do its thing over 30 years. Money invested consistently grows slowly at first, but then it snowballs incredibly fast. That is exactly how normal people with totally average paychecks end up retiring as millionaires. They just let time do the heavy lifting. So armed with these rules, you've got a choice to make. You know exactly how taxes take their cut, how banks use your deposits, how inflation slowly drains your cash, and how compound interest can multiply it. The system is what it is. The question now is, will you let interest and inflation act as your worst enemies, or are you going to use investments and time to command them to be your best unpaid employees? The choice is completely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we keep unpacking the rules of the world around us.